Hello, everyone. This is Tom Fox back again for another episode of the award-winning podcast. Today, we're absolutely thrilled to have with us Trey Atkission. Trey, welcome, and thank you so much for taking the time to visit with us today.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here with you guys.
Trey, I think it's correct to say you are a Kerrville boy.
Yes. So we moved to Kerrville in 1996. So graduated from Tybee in 2002. Prior to that, it was Uvalde.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where'd you go to college?
Went to college at Baylor. I studied accounting, and this is kind of counter degrees, if you will, accounting and professional selling. So two very different groups of people in that part of the business school.
Yeah, but the thing about it is when you can get an accountant who can sell, that's something.
That's true. Yeah. It's a unique combination.
I've met in my other life of working in legal and regulatory compliance, I've met a few accountants on podcasts, and the guys who can actually speak, they're really good and they really stand out because of that in that world.
Yeah. Being a good communicator and being persuasive with that specialized knowledge are good tools to have. Yeah.
So could you tell us about your professional career after graduation?
Certainly. So when I graduated from Baylor in 2006, I graduated in December. I did a half victory lap to get that professional selling program under my belt. And that summer, I started working for an airplane broker called Premier Jet Aviation. And so I started selling airplanes for them that summer before I graduated. And then I worked with them from, let's call that the summer of 2006, July of 2006, till about August of 2011. And in August of 2011, I came back here and began working at the dealership as an inventory manager at Cecil Atkission Motors here in Kerrville.
And tell us about your kind of professional path at the dealership.
So I started out as the inventory manager, really trying to learn about pre-owned cars, what the values were, understand the reconditioning and the marketing process there. And then from that role, I became a sales manager for our new car department. So I was in charge of our new Chevrolet, Buick, and Cadillac sales at that time. And I worked in that role till about 2015 when I became in the dealership. So it's called the general sales manager, where you're responsible for new and used vehicle sales. And I did that from about 2015 to 2019. Then I became the general manager of the store in March of 2019. And that's the role that I occupy to this day. We have multiple locations in Southwest Texas. I mainly spend 90% of my time here, but I also do get out to our Ford stores in Hondo and Del Rio, and we have a Dodge Chrysler Jeep store in Burnett, which I also visit, help them with their sales operations from time to time.
I've never had the opportunity to visit with someone in your business from a small town.
Okay.
And I grew up in a small town, and the men whose names were on those stores were icons in the local community.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And so I really want to explore that part of it with you. It's in many ways an opportunity, but also a responsibility. Everyone knows you. Everyone knows who you are. Everyone knows your cars. A lot of people, because you've been with them through one or more multiple large purchases. Can you talk about what it's like to be in business and private business, yet have this sort of public facing responsibility in a small town?
There's never a dull moment, I can assure you of that. It's always fun. Our mission really at the dealership is to enrich our customers' lives and help make their dreams come true, whether that is celebrating a significant achievement in their life, like a milestone for retirement and treating themselves to a new vehicle, or solving their transportation needs as their families grow up and change. You have a customer that you have that relationship with, and then that man or woman eventually gets married and they have a family and they transition through different vehicle types. And so that's always been fun and exciting for me, being to help those people through that journey, and then also help them navigate transactions that are very complex, because you're talking about the simultaneous acquisition of a new asset and disposition of the previous one and the financing and everything else that goes along with that. And so I enjoy helping people navigate that road and navigate that journey. And it's also new because you meet people, and in particular in an area like Kerrville, I always say meet lots of people. And one of the first questions that I typically will ask of someone if I haven't met them before is, "Are you from here originally?" And particularly as I get more time here, I find that most people are not from Kerrville originally. And so if you're from the area originally, that's kind of a rare thing. And that most people are in Kerrville because they want to be in Kerrville. And so you get to know and experience the community in different ways, I think, than I have in other opportunities where I've worked. And so it's always interesting. I like people. I like getting to know them. And so that's a very fun aspect of it as well.
Beyond yourself and your responsibility, I also see those dealers as having a community, obviously a presence, but also a responsibility, all the way from maybe sponsoring a little league team to being there for high school, to being there for other educational events, supporting the town in many different ways. What's the institution of Cecil Atkission Motors in Kerrville?
So one of our core values is community, and we serve that and just through a variety of different ways. I'm really a second generation Rotarian as a member of the Kerrville Rotary Club. My dad was as well and was president of our club in 2002 to 2003. And then for us, it's very important to support the community that supports us. We're all here together in this wonderful place that we live. And so you hit the nail on the head. It can be anything from sponsoring soccer teams and youth baseball teams through our own initiatives or through our partnership with General Motors for youth baseball, the Chevrolet Youth Baseball Program, to helping raise money for charity events like Kill Country Charity Ball, which we're a very big supporter of, and then also other institutions like the Peterson Health Center here in town. So it really in supporting that goal of community, which means we're from here, we live here, and we support not only the local charitable organizations, but also we support each other where we want to sell cars to local people. And then we also want to do business with people locally ourselves.
I came from Houston, moved here in 21. And one of my observations was there was a large amount of public business support for the local government. And I'm going to call that public private partnership. Would that be your observation as well?
Yes, I would agree with that.
And I saw obviously people like Andrew and Gil on committees, but I also saw a lot of involvement in task force and other things where the community would bring in business leaders who might have opinions they could give, and business leaders who are interested in helping Kerrville move, I think, to 2050 and beyond.
Right. Yeah, and I agree with that. I was asked to serve on the Kerrville Airport Board previously, and I did that from 2019 to about 2024. And aviation is something that's very near and dear to me as a hobby and something I enjoy doing. It was an honor to lend that expertise back to help the airport in Kerrville, which is owned by the city and the county, navigate some growth and expansion plans because it's a very important asset to our community.
One of the ongoing conversations I hear is about bringing workers to Kerrville, whether it's for the hospital, whether it's for James Avery Jewelry, whether it's for HEB. How are you going to house them? Where are they going to live? What's a living wage? What's a wage appropriate for Kerrville? Does that sort of conversation filter down to the level of business of Cecil Atkission Motors as well?
It does. It does. From time to time, we get involved in conversations like that. And of course, that's very important to us for the vitality of the community and continued growth of our area as well.
Hopefully the cement factory is still on track to open here. Were you involved in that in any way? To turn over to your Rotary service now.
Okay.
You mentioned that your father is a Rotarian, but had also been the club president here in Kerrville. When did you join, and what drove you to join Rotary Club of Kerrville?
So I became a member of the Rotary Club of Kerrville in January of 2013, and I started to attend meetings more regularly with my dad in the fall of 2012. And it was just a great way to get out and meet more people in our community, but also learn about what Rotary does. And that was just something that after that exposure that I decided that I wanted to be a part of, and a way to give back and support our community, but also to meet more people and become more connected in our community and feel like you're a part of something that's bigger than yourself. So those were some of the main draws to Rotary and why I joined back then.
Maybe up until the past couple of years, what were two or three of the things, either projects you were involved in or things you enjoyed doing most with Rotary?
I enjoy the service projects that we do at Rotary, and then I enjoy the main event fundraising that we do at Rotary. Most recently, as you come up through the leadership ranks in Rotary, our main fundraiser is something that falls directly under your purview. You kind of become responsible for that. But previously, I was on a committee for that, and I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that very much. And so those just some examples of things that I've been involved with at Rotary.
And I think it was 3 years ago, I believe you went onto the leadership track. Was that experience like up until July 1?
That was it. It was a great experience. I was asked by other people in the leadership of our Rotary Club if I would consider that, and we went out to lunch, and I consulted with a couple of fellow members who had kind of been there and done that. Because one thing that's very important to me is I don't want to ever outkick my coverage. In other words, get involved in something that I really can't give it the commitment it requires and deserves. And so after realizing that I could make that work and it would just be a great way to become more involved in the leadership of our club, I jumped at the chance. And you start out as a secretary, and and then you just go through these progressing responsibilities as you move up to become president-elect and president. And then you just get to learn about the club and what Rotary does in a way that is different than just being a member who regularly attends meetings and participates in club activities at the member level. So it's been a fun journey.
So on July 1, 2025, you were invested as president, and your father put that pin on you.
Uh-huh.
And I could see your father face, I could see your back. Mm-hmm. And then you guys had a long hug.
Yeah.
And what I couldn't tell from that hug, because I couldn't see your face, was he more proud of you for becoming president, or were you more proud because you had stepped up to do something that he had accomplished and now you were the next generation?
Oh, my dad is my best friend, and I'm very proud to be his son. So for me, it was very fulfilling to step into that role and really continue on his legacy of service and following in his footsteps of serving the community through our Rotary Club. Yeah, it was very fantastic, very fulfilling moment to have him there and be a part of that.
I could see the pride in his eyes. Like I said, I couldn't see your face. So July 1 and July 4 hits.
Oh, man.
And because of the position you were in as president of the Rotary Club, I think many people look to you for not answers perhaps, but at least how can we start to help our members, our community, and all of those who might need us. I can't imagine anyone was prepared for that, and certainly not 3 days into your presidency. Were there people in Rotary you could reach out to start to get some ideas to give to the community? What was that process like for you?
At Rotary, we have, you have, in addition to the other people who are on your leadership team, you've got a board of directors, and these people that we have on our board of directors in the Rotary Club of Kerrville, they're leaders in our community, and they're fantastic people to work with. And a lot of them have experience, and we're talking about vast reservoirs of experience, not only in local government and business, but in some cases, disaster response. We have one of our board members, she's not on our board technically, but Christy Vandenberg worked with the American Red Cross for years. And she was just a fantastic resource to her, along with other board members, were just a fantastic resource to reach out to and then consult with as we began navigating the terrible tragedy that befell our community on July 4th weekend. And I think the big question we all had was, and I think on everybody's mind was, how can we help? How can we help with the, whether that be the rescue and then longer term, the recovery that is going to take place in our community is in the coming months and coming years, and what's the best resource. And I had reached out to our other board members about how we might do that. And then also, of course, after checking in to make sure everybody was okay, and then participating and watching the local news and press conferences that were held by Mayor Herring and our other city officials to find out, okay, what is the need? How can we help out right now in the short term? And then I think that's something that we're continuing to figure out day by day. It seems like it's still a very fluid situation, even today, where the needs for today and then are evolving, and then also focusing on the long term for the recovery. I would say our Rotary community is it's so close knit, and I don't think that you can fully appreciate that until you've been where we've been since July 4th, and the outreach from other Rotary clubs near and abroad. I've talked to our neighboring Rotary clubs in Fredericksburg, all the way to clubs in Washington State and Brazil and even Italy have reached out and have sent resources to help our community recover from this event. So it really has been amazing to see that in action.
2025 is a huge anniversary for the Rotary Club of Kerrville. Could you say a few words about that anniversary and how we hope to celebrate it?
Absolutely. So 2025, 2026 is our centennial year for the Rotary Club of Kerrville. And you think about that, just a fantastic 100 years of support and contribution to the Kerrville community and really to the worldwide initiatives at Rotary. It's very special. And we've got a couple of initiatives that we're working on as gifts back to the community, but also to celebrate the Rotary Club and make sure that we know that people in our community know what the Rotary Club is. And so we're working on a couple of projects down at Guardian Plaza, and then also and I'm drawing the Hill Country, I think it's a Heritage Center, which is down here on Water Street to commemorate that. So we're raising funds through donations, not only to support what we do locally, but those two projects this year. And so it's a very exciting time in Rotary. And I think one of the, for me is, it's interesting, since the events of July 4th, people are seeing and hearing that Rotary is involved in supporting our community. A question I'm often asked, even by people I know, is what is Rotary and what does it really do in 10 words or less? And so I think that is something as a club that, we have to continue to consider and get the word out so that people know as we come into our centennial year.
Trey, what would you say to the young professional in Kerrville, maybe in their 20s, maybe in their 30s, maybe someone who's trying to develop his own business as an entrepreneur? They should join Rotary at that age.
I think Rotary is just a fantastic way to, especially if you're new to the area, to get involved in supporting your local community if Rotary is that avenue for you, and also to get plugged in and to get connected with other professionals in your community. It's a fantastic networking opportunity for meeting people in your community and meeting your peers and other leaders in your community. And then also it just has some fantastic ways to give back and help support our initiatives locally, and then the initiatives of Rotary abroad.
Trey, I wanted to thank you again for taking the time to visit with us, and I look forward to your guidance and leading us through not only these difficult times ahead, but also to our centennial.
Thank you, Tom. It's been a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me on.